Michael Jordan versus LeBron James in the NBA GOAT debate is the most hotly contested debate in all of sports. And it's not going anywhere anytime soon, with LeBron James about to start an unprecedented 22nd season. Let me save you some time right now and tell you, this isn't another one of those videos. We're not gonna go band for band here and declare a winner at the end, only to upset half the audience. There's no point. Unfortunately, this debate has become so toxic, a lot of the stories now are not even fiction. They're straight up lies. And today, we're exposing the lies, because if you're gonna have it, you might as well come correct with the right facts. Buckle up, because these are 7 big myths you've been fed and lied to by overly emotional fans who are clearly biased, which by extension includes NBA media. And if you're not bored out of your mind, at the end I will address the only stat that matters in the NBA GOAT debate. The errors in the competition argument when talking about Michael Jordan versus LeBron James is not only deeply toxic, but it's actually deeply just incorrect and plain old stupid. You would think people who say Michael Jordan couldn't play well in this era or LeBron James would suck in the 90s, you would think they've never played an ounce of basketball. But these are professional ex-NBA players who think that. And it's purely ridiculous. Let's break it down logistically, simply, smartly, with common sense. The early 90s and the late 80s where Michael Jordan played. If say LeBron James played in that era prioritized getting twos. That was just the start of the NBA starting to realize that, hey, maybe shooting threes and layering it in is a good idea. But guess what? Back then, twos were absolutely the diet and staple. And guess what LeBron James is better at than anybody in the planet? Is getting a quick two, driving with either hand, finishing with either hand. And then he's also, over time, really have a lockdown mid-range jumper as well. If LeBron James played in Michael Jordan's era, that era prioritized twos, and LeBron would have probably had to shoot 30 to 40 times a night, which he never did in his career. He would absolutely crush the era. And on the flip side, you think if Michael Jordan played in 2025, he wouldn't be averaging close to 40 points a game? Think about it. James Harden averaged 37 points a game. Is Michael Jordan a more complete scorer than LeBron James? Absolutely. If you look at the way Michael Jordan shoots, he's got brilliant form. He's got an automatic shot. It's a textbook shot. Guess what? When he was coming up, they thought threes were for children. It was a joke. That's why he didn't shoot that many. But you best believe MJ would be in the lab. If he needed to shoot threes, he would. And think about this era, the pace and space. Who was faster than Michael Jordan? Very few. Who could jump higher than Michael Jordan? On record, maybe one person. So you think about now where the defense is so much harder to play than when he was there. They're not allowed to hit him. They're not allowed to smash him. They're not allowed to hand check him. How on earth could anyone say that the competition is so much greater that MJ wouldn't kill it? This is the stupidest argument. Both these guys would kill it in any era. Stop that now. Speaking of eras though, Michael Jordan fans continue to use this narrative that Michael Jordan never lost, and that's why he's better than LeBron James. First of all, Michael Jordan lost a lot. Michael Jordan lost to the Detroit Pistons 3 straight times. Michael Jordan has a losing record against the Boston Celtics and Larry Bird. So let's get that clear. Michael Jordan lost a lot. And in fact, even against the New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers in his own conference, there were a lot of hairy moments there. So it's not like Michael Jordan sun ran and God walked through the entire East and then won in the NBA Finals. It's not that. And it's a really challenging myth that has to stop now. Because guess what? Every top legend in the sport has lost. And I'm gonna take a step further. We like them because they've lost. We always want to see our hero have adversity and overcome it. It's the most tried and true trope in human history, and it's never going away. It's not that Michael Jordan never lost. Let's get that right. He lost a lot. But it's when he finally broke through, it was the level of inevitability. Because once he got to the finals, the most important, the pinnacle, he never lost. He dominated, and there was no Game 7. Because the true Jordan fans don't say MJ never lost, but it's how he lost. How did he respond to losses? How did he motivate his teammates? What was the impact on the team? And whether or not you don't like Michael Jordan as a person, you can't vilify him for loyalty. He stuck with his team through the good times, the horrible times, and everything in between. One team for life. And when they lost, he took accountability first. LeBron James is just such a much better teammate than Michael Jordan because he never yelled at people, and look at who he elevated. Yes, that is valid. The way LeBron James relates or related to his teammates is far different than the leadership styles of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and even guys like Dwayne Wade and Kevin Garnett to a lesser extent. But what do you call being a good teammate? Is it on a day-to-day basis you're not scared of the best player on the team yelling at you? Yes, that's awesome. But on the flip side, when your team loses, that best player already has one foot out the door. LeBron fans, chill. I'm one of his biggest fans. But I'm not gonna let my emotions dictate reality like most of you do. You can't deny that every single team he's been on outside of the first 7 years in Cleveland, he was holding those teams hostage. And those teams were shitting themselves, constantly being like, okay, he might leave, let's do this. He might leave, let's do that. He might leave. And it's like, it's not just losing, it's how you lose. And how are you such a great teammate if at any point you're gonna walk out on your team, you know they've given up a lot for you, and your best friends, in the case of Dwayne Wade, sacrificed tens of millions to get you there, and you leave in the middle of the night, you don't even tell them? How is that being a great teammate? And even if you look at right now, 2025, what's happening with the Lakers? He signed a contract, then said, oh, I need the team to build around. I'm not sure about the championship of this team, championship aspirations. Bro, they got you Luka Doncic in his prime. The next crazy lie that's been constantly pushed forth, funnily enough, by both sides. Basketball is a team game, and there's 5 people playing. And LeBron fans constantly make this argument as if it's like, oh, well, basketball's a team game. LeBron involves his team, Michael Jordan doesn't. Okay, but then how come Michael Jordan's teams have the best records in both regular season history and having 6 championships as well? So how come then, if basketball's a team game and LeBron's a better team player, how come then Michael Jordan's teams have always won? Way more than LeBron's team. But on the flip side too, basketball is a team game, meaning that MJ fans, anyone else talking about as if Michael Jordan did it 100% alone. Hey, guess what, guys? Before the Bulls got Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan didn't win shit on his own. He also needed a team around him. Basketball is a team game. But to say Michael Jordan didn't play it well within a team concept, that is absolutely and utterly wrong. And here's another horribly spouted lie, which this one is honestly much more malicious. It's this constant confusion about Michael Jordan's first retirement. Oh, they forced him to retire because of a gambling problem? Dude, these are just ridiculous takes, again, made up by overly emotional, biased conspiracy theorists who are trying to tear down a legacy of one guy or another guy. Let's get something right. Michael Jordan had won 3 straight championships. If you think a small gambling addiction was more critical to the league than the revenue and notoriety and fame that Michael Jordan was bringing at that time, if you think those two things were even remotely the same, you need to take a basic economics class. And here's another example of basic economics. If I have $1 and I go to the casino betting my entire $1, I have a gambling problem. If I'm Michael Jordan and I'm worth $50 million and I lose 100 grand, that's a gambling hobby. That's a fun thing he does in his pastime. It's not an addiction. Let's get this clear for the last time. His father was tragically murdered, and his original dream for Michael Jordan was to play baseball. That was his dad's favorite sport. So he did it to honor his father. And then, by the way, came back and won 3 more titles in basketball. And The way he performed in baseball, which nobody talks about, was super admirable. Yeah, obviously he didn't make the majors. Dude, the guy played baseball for 3 years and still made AAA. I mean, it's very impressive. And like, let's stop with all these conspiracy theories. This isn't even like up for debate. It's out there. Everyone knows Michael Jordan loves gambling. One of the biggest arguments for LeBron James is longevity. LeBron James has been at this for 21 years. Not only that, he's done it at an astonishingly high level. And forget every other thing. The amount of fitness required to perform at this level for this long, I don't care if he's taking HGH, TRT, red kryptonite. I don't care. He still laced them up every damn day for 21 years, about to do it again. Longevity can't be dismissed. It is absolutely something in LeBron's favor. What do you mean? Michael Jordan said it in The Last Dance himself. A lot of reasons he wanted to go was he couldn't handle the media pressure. Constant. LeBron's done it for 21 years. But here's the real crux of the longevity argument is, if you have been around for too long, it starts to play against you. If you stay for too long and still haven't achieved what that person achieved in a much shorter amount of time, it takes away. So while LeBron's longevity is an absolute nod, it's not the defining factor. You can't possibly say that, oh well, he's been there so much longer, look at all his stats. But we both know that stats are not the only part of the story. And I'm sorry to say, Bron fans, but you know and I know in your heart of hearts that the scoring record is a record of longevity. LeBron James may be the highest point scorer in NBA history, but he's not the best scorer in NBA history. That is pretty much plain to see when you watch people play. That doesn't mean he's not one of the greatest to ever lace them up, but he's not the best scorer. That is a lie. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, even his old buddy, old pal Dwayne Wade were much more complete scorers than LeBron. He'd say it to you himself if he was being honest. Because unfortunately, LeBron fans, if GOAT was only dictated by stats, then Will Chamberlain would have to be the GOAT, don't you think? But we don't rate him there because there are a multitude of other factors. So yes, longevity is great, but it's not the only thing. Speaking of media pressure and longevity, this last one is the biggest lie being told today in the MJ vs. Bron GOAT debate. And that is, oh, social media, the media cycle being 24/7 versus when Michael Jordan was around, it was only the news who had media to share and that was the only source. So if you look at it on its face, right? The people reporting on Michael Jordan are only the news media. There's no Facebook, there's no Insta, there's no social media, there's no Twitter. So basically, the basketball news you were getting was dictated by X, Y, and Z, right? And so that's what people are meaning is it wasn't as intense. It's not every Dumbo with a iPhone camera who can catch you in 4K saying some shit you didn't mean to say. Yes, absolutely. And LeBron James is always on blast from the media, whether it's good or bad. You know what I mean? But it's everywhere. It's nonstop. So I get it. But think about this a different way. The only source of information you got about Michael Jordan was from news media. So guess what? News media was just as savage as the Twitter trolls today. But they were just a more concentrated bunch. But that doesn't mean the lack of BS out there wasn't crazy. And in fact, in a lot of ways, LeBron James has now been able to use social media, A, to project himself as a human, and B, to really pump his own GOAT agenda. Whereas if you think about it on the flip side, Michael Jordan was so famous and such a celebrity that when people saw him, it was like seeing a god. It was like seeing a deity. It was like he was levitating. So imagine the way people related to Michael Jordan. He wasn't considered a human. He was considered a god. He had to step on that basketball court and score 50. Didn't matter. Whereas now with social media, imagine he could use that to give his own voice to things. Look at how much of a personality LeBron has curated outside of basketball. People actually know him, and he's got such a massive following that whenever he even mentions the GOAT debate, his followers come in droves. Michael Jordan never had any of that. So yes, of course, the media cycle being what it is now is a lot more savage. But let's not act like it wasn't absolutely insane when Michael Jordan was coming up. Okay, so you somehow made it to the end of this video, and for that, not only am I in awe of you, I am super thankful. And for that, I'm going to reward you with the only stat that matters in the NBA GOAT debate. Whether it's MJ versus LeBron, Wilt versus Bill, Magic versus Larry. And that is time. Guess what? People who grew up in the 50s and 60s swear that Wilt Chamberlain's the greatest player they ever saw. People who grew up in the 70s watching Kareem say he's the greatest player. People in the 80s torn between Magic and Bird. People in the 90s, Michael. People in the 2000s, Kobe, Michael, LeBron. Guess what? Over the passage of time, whoever's right in front of you performing the best will be the GOAT for people watching. But guess what? Over time, you're only remembered for one thing, and that's winning. And Michael Jordan, pound for pound, has done it the most. But is that the only stat that matters? We don't think so. And in fact, we don't think the GOAT debate is just down to MJ versus LeBron. We've tried to create a comprehensive GOAT list that had 12 of the greatest NBA players. Where does your favorite player land? Check it out here.